Hello everyone, welcome to this impromptu episode of Fluffenhammer. I'm David, this is Darren, and we're going to be watching and talking about the new Kill Team stream that is coming up.
Well, we assume it's Kill Team.
Well,
it's going to be Kill Team.
Yeah.
Maybe with some 40k, but more likely just Kill Team.
It'd be nice to have some 40k, but you never can tell with these.
But they do like to play the cards quite close to the chest until a leak happens, and then it's all hands on deck panic, like we saw yesterday.
Yeah, that leak. I hate seeing leaks like that because you just can't imagine how that feels with a team, you know?
Yeah. Like I've been privy to a few like super secret projects and stuff in the past. And oh god, that is too loud. Sorry, I just brought Twitch up to get ready and just got spammed with freaking adverts for JK Rowling horrible Harry Potter thing.
Oh god.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, I've been privy to a few like super secret projects in the past, and I get the urge to talk. I really, really get the urge to talk. But at the same time, being on the inside of it, you fully know how much impact it's going to make if you don't say anything. So yeah, like with the stuff I got involved in, we unofficially spoke to a couple of streamers who started dropping info despite saying they wouldn't, and I just wanted to throttle them because it's just like, dude, you are killing all of the work we're doing here.
They must understand that doing that makes them far less likely to
be
trusted in for future.
Yep, but they still do it. I mean, on the flip side, I have also been privy to stuff that back in my Mac help desk days, I'd get sent beta test software by companies that wanted us to try stuff out and work with clients and things before it was available to the public, that I was told to sign NDAs for and stuff, and I'd still leak it.
Yeah.
Because the public kind of want to know about this stuff. So I get both sides of the argument.
Fair.
Probably shouldn't admit that in somewhere where I'm being recorded, should I? I think I'm past the statute of limitations. It was like 20 years ago now.
Well, I mean, if all else fails, I'm sure Mr. Gruff will be able to edit around this section for us.
Nah, keep it in, Gruff. Do it. I don't care if I get arrested for something that happened 20 years ago. Good luck making it stick. I didn't even mention the company.
Fair. But yeah, so as some of you may be aware, some pictures got leaked of the new, is coming up as being the new versions of the Tempestus Scions.
So good. So good.
They are. I must admit, I was surprised that they've actually given them a full new kit. I expected it to be an upgrade to the existing one.
The scale of the existing minis is off though now.
That's true. They are more scaled to the classic Cadians, which is slightly irksome given I have about 60 of them still to paint in a box behind me.
I mean, at the same time, who cares about scale? Once they're on the tabletop, you're not going to notice a couple of mil. And if you mix the squads up as well.
Absolutely. And my bunch has got I've got loads of metal heads from Statros minis, had some female beret heads, 2 things. I've got a pack of Cromlech veteran guard heads I'm going to mix in to my next bunch.
Like my Dark Angels army's got stuff ranging from like Rogue Trader through to 10th. So
yeah,
scale's just scale, right? People are different sizes. All right, yeah. Primaris are supposed to be massive hulking gorillas, but outside of that,
yeah.
Nothing in the Codex has ever said Marines are all a static height.
This is true. In fact, the very first Codex explicitly has a Space Wolf, Wolfguard Ranulf, who is a giant amongst Space Marines.
Yeah.
His armor was he had to wear custom Terminator armor because he was almost Primarch stature. He was huge.
Yeah, you read about it in the Heresy novels all the time as well, right? Like, I can't remember character names offhand because it's been a while, and I'm deep in a Gaunt's rabbit hole at the moment. But
I think there's that World Eater Black Shield who got his mini recently, the Hound.
Yep.
He's a giant. In fact, I want to use him to do a conversion for Captain Cortez for the Crimson Fists, because
That'd be pretty badass.
yeah, because Cortez is supposed to be a beefy dude who takes a lot of damage as well. There's him. There's been a few mentioned. Interesting.
You've got Space Sharks guy, Tyberos or whatever his name is.
God,
He's a
yeah.
monster of a marine.
Yep, you've got the chapter master of the Minotaurs,
Yep.
who is monstrous in every sense of the word by all accounts, and is always the same name and the same stature, which is deeply worrying, given he's apparently died on multiple occasions.
We just don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Not unless we want people showing up at us. Anyway, we digress. Yeah. So
On this show, never.
I know that never happens. So yeah, leaked Elysians look dope as all hell. And of course, because they were leaked early, by Games Workshop no less, because they accidentally put them up on Warcom in a Skaven article.
Did they?
Apparently so, yeah. Slow clap,
that's
guys.
taken out.
Slow clap.
I missed that entirely.
I'm going off secondhand info, but I've seen it mentioned in a few places that it might have been a non-UK Games Workshop website. So each website is its own, and it would explain why the text isn't in English.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, they screwed up, so they owned it and released the trailer, which we're probably going to see today. Which, oh my god, I suddenly like Scions after years of hating them as a concept.
Yeah, it's funny because it feels like, because for Scions, for anyone who's not aware, were the most recent iteration of the Stormtrooper concept amongst the Guard. And someday I'll have to do a video on a video recording on the Stormtroopers in 40k, because they are kind of interesting how they've evolved over the years. But there was a time where, so they started off as basically just dudes in black fatigues and berets, a very specific look. Don't think too hard about it. We'll move on from that. Then around for third edition, they became carapace armored guys we know and love.
Yep.
With a very
notably without the bulky hotshot packs, which means that hotshot packs are just power packs and not the backpacks.
Yes.
I got into an argument about this the other day, and the guy just shut up as soon as I put that photo of the original third ed ones up.
Yeah. I mean, the second ed guys, they had the backpacks, but that was because they were a very different style of Lasgun anyway.
Yeah.
But the third ed, and it's something that all the fiction gets into as well, the hotshot pack is its own type of magazine.
Yeah, and it's also a setting on the Lasgun, if I'm remembering my Ghost novels correctly.
You can overcharge a regular Lasgun, but the hotshot is designed to fire like that repeatedly. Whereas a regular Lasgun can't really sustain it.
Yeah, true. And it also destroys barrels as well, because Larkin has like tons of spare barrels for his sniper layers.
Yeah, sniper hotshots are a whole other thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
They seem to be about looking to a las cannon round if you read the fiction sometimes.
Yeah. So Larkin pulls his trigger and the bridge collapses. Wait, what?
Well, there's a great one in Anarch, the last book, where Nessa, the Vergas sniper, she puts a hotshot round first through a truck's engine as it drives past her. A Cargo 8 truck engine, so not a light vehicle anyway. Not armoured, but not a light vehicle. And then she puts another round straight away through the head of the driver.
Jesus.
And it's just like, well, that went through a bit of armour on the way through, didn't it?
I really, really would like to read like a Haynes guide to Lasguns at some point.
Again, it's an article I want to do at some point. After Adam did his treatise on the jump pack, I want to do one on the las gun, because it's such a fascinating weapon when you stop and look at everything that surrounds it.
Yeah, and obviously it's just surrounded by the memes of being little more than a flashlight until you actually read the lore and the background and the books and stuff, at which point it actually sounds like it has a hell of a lot of stopping power, even on its lightest setting.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the lasgun is that in the game, it is the flashlight. It is the least powerful standard weapon in the game. It's for which everything else is measured against. But that's purely because we're talking about 40k, where everyone else fires either monomolecular shurikens, bioammunition,
it's not
miniature
just that either.
RPGs.
As a game, you need that element of balance. You need the
Yeah.
element of certain factions being weaker that are more numerical.
Hmm.
Ooh, and we have start.
Here we go. Ayo. Stand by for action.
So it is kill team. Still miss the old combo.
I do. I get why they do it like this, but and it's not a knock on the guys because they do put a lot of effort into doing these. But the old approach of having a couple of the guys at a desk with
Yep.
Raph on the comms.
Yep. It
I
just felt
do,
more personable.
and the fact that you said they interacted with the live stream as
Yeah.
well, the comments
Yeah.
as much as they could anyway. It just added a more personal feel to it. I get
Yeah,
why they've moved to
absolutely.
this attitude, this approach instead, but it is a bit of a shame.
It's slicker, it's tighter, it's easier to do, but yeah.
It loses a little bit of rawness, and it feels a little bit canned, to be honest, which I think
Yes.
does it a disservice because if a lot of these guys, if you get the way they do it, it feels a little forced.
Mm,
But if you just let them run with stuff, a lot of these
yeah.
guys, they're like us, they're all massive nerds.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, this trailer is just chef's
Oh yeah,
kiss.
yeah.
I've got to get me one of those little guys.
I know that little gun drone.
And berets are back.
Yeah,
Berets are
baby.
back.
I mean, in my guard, they never went away because I love me a good beret. But
Yeah, I mostly stick to first party kits, so
that's fair. But then I have a bag full of Tempestus Silent parts because I was buying the bits like several years ago. I
yeah,
used to buy bit slots, and often it'd just be heads, arms,
yeah.
kit. I just have a bag full of that stuff handy.
There
Oh,
needs to be more bit sellers, but oh god, this looks so good. Ooh, I
best bit
missed
as
him on
well.
the original release of the trailer.
Mr. Gunfighter.
The one
Yeah.
with the helmet.
Oh, the Vespid, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
funny, that's actually always been a part of the Vespid. They've all back in when they did them originally, they had that one guy leading the squad who had like the comms gear to communicate with the Tower
Okay.
High Command.
I will admit Tau are a massive blind spot for me. I'm aware of them. I started trying to collect them back in the day. I never really got that far into it.
I think everyone did, in all fairness. They do have they've got a lovely look, but I've always had trouble getting into them at various points. I've always wanted to,
Yeah.
but hey ho. Well, that's what it is.
So it is a new edition.
That's interesting.
Quite quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's been what, 2.5 years since?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a tertiary game for them, right? It's not one of the main lines, so they could probably cycle it a lot quicker. And if the rumors are right and it's more just taking on board community feedback, it doesn't need a massive rewrite.
Yeah, I mean, the change from the first edition of Kill Team to this one was quite drastic, where
Significant,
they
yeah.
bringing in the specific dice and the movement icons. So that's interesting.
October. Birthday present to myself.
That's the spirit. Everyone loves
Titans
a
and
gun
Kill
toad.
Team. No, giant gun. Titans and Kill Team.
Oh, yes. The Imperium, always one for subtlety.
Yep. This this plays into something that me and Adam were talking about for a Fluffin' Day a while ago, using Kill Team to capture giant weapons.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. See, I do like the little things they've done with these, where they've added the support straps around the legs.
Yeah.
Really makes them distinct from the Kazakin.
It's something that I've really enjoyed with the new range. Like, people complain about too much detail, but at the same time, it grounds the miniatures a bit more in something more of a reality. Like, you look at them and they look like they can actually work.
Yeah. I mean, the Kazakin now occupy that spot of the heavy shock troopers.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys now, the Scions, since they introduced them, have always been much more the elite drop team, the special
Yeah.
forces guys. Giving them that little extra bit of detailing and
Yep.
the lovely grav packs, that just makes so much sense.
I'm gonna need to work out how to kit bash these with Solar Auxilia, because
Well, I mean,
Halo
the, head,
troops.
the heads aren't too bad. Oh, hello.
Yeah, it's more the torsos and the legs and stuff I need to match. But considering the Navy thing that I'm trying at the moment, they'd be kind of cool to have
Yeah.
Halo grav troops and shit.
Oh, interesting. They've got a specific. They're a type of Tempestus, not just.
Okay.
Ooh, hello.
They are gorgeous wee
Oh
minis.
my.
Ooh,
Oh, these. Ooh.
ooh.
Oh, they're lovely.
They're so wasp-like.
Yeah. See, it's a thing with the original Vespa, because they were metal, they could never really. They had that chunkiness to them.
Yeah.
Didn't match what they were supposed to be in the fluff.
Yep.
That actually looks really good.
I can imagine them painted like Hornets looking absolutely badass.
Hornets, wasps.
Mm.
God, if you hate stinging bugs, you're probably gonna have problems on the tables if you have a tower opponent going forward.
Oh god, I'm just suddenly imagining like kit bashing or sculpting a hive tower to spawn them from and stuff.
Ooh. Yeah, that'd be cool. That's very nifty. I
Of
wasn't
course.
expecting it to be venerated with giant cannons.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Imperium, giant tech that
Yeah.
we don't understand. Oh, it's holy then. I'll be honest, from the original screenshots that have kind of been floating around, I was expecting a Titan.
Yeah. It would have been fun to have had like the scenery to be the top of an Emperor class Titan. That could have been
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. One day, maybe.
Mm. Yay, gun drone.
Buying many of those.
Yeah, the bit sellers are going to be having a field day with that set.
Yep. Yeah, I'll definitely be trying to get as many
Ooh.
jump packs as I can.
Mm. I wait, they're on 28 mil bases as well. God,
Yeah.
am I going to have to rebase my entire existing science force now?
Nah, this will just be a single unit.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got their own custom name, so the
Mm.
standard signs are probably going to be fine until they do a re-release.
Mm.
Plus, go with the printer. I can just print expansion things for them.
Hmm. Very true. Admittedly, I did just recently buy a bag for like 80 28.5 mil bases for £5. AliExpress, it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh, they look so good.
Too, and I'm loving all barbed wire,
Yep.
mines, remote grenades.
I do like they're adding an element of verticality to this setting as well now. Like it's not something that I've played much of, but I've always felt like it lacks the vertical space, which Necromunda's always worked with really well.
Yeah, I was going to say that's always kind of been Necromunda's bag to be vertical. But this looks. In fact, you have 2 units with jump packs, just opens things up massively.
Yep. Oh.
See, I'm liking that GDR are embracing this slowly, the digital landscape.
It's hard for them because a lot of the money is made from selling books and stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like the amount of rule changes they make to keep up with the meta and everything else, they need a digital distro system. And the books, I hope to keep books around because I like having them, but I get why they'd want to move away from it as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if they could look at the model that, say, Corvus Belli uses for their stuff for Infinity, all of their rules are digital, online for free. They got a free army builder, free wiki, whole shebang. They don't do army books. Instead, they do. You can buy a physical rule book, physical, and they do supplements, and they're gorgeous. They're hardback, and they're just full of lore and lovely artwork and all stuff you like.
I will be fair to G-Dubs. Like everybody says that the rules are all physical and stuff, but they do provide them for free online. They have done for a while.
Absolutely, yeah. They've been not as much as other companies have done, but they've been moving that way. They've been, and like you said, it's a tough one for them because their model has always been based on the physical product.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fact that stuff changes so rapidly nowadays, I think some folks forget how slowly stuff changed in the past. I mean, I remember Dark Eldar when they had a codex update towards the end of 3rd edition, and then their big range revamp wasn't till almost the start of 5th.
Yeah, and a lot of like the rule drops and stuff with White Dwarf, right?
Yeah, and we didn't have like these regular FAQs, rules updates, the data slate, all that stuff didn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I did Space Force, and I went 5 years between between the 3rd and 4th edition codexes.
Yeah, I mean, hell, how long was it for Sisters in some cases?
Yeah, I mean, Sisters, their codex dropped at the end of 2nd. They had, I think they had chapter approved rules during 3rd. Then the Witch Hunters Codex was either the end of 3rd or midway through. No, it was 4th because it had that. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. No, it was towards the end of 3rd because they changed the branding of the codexes to have the black outlines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before they moved to that weird marbling effect for 4th edition. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'd rather be where we are now if there are these regular updates and at least you know that if something's not right, they will try and course correct.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
That's what we're all here for.
Lads. And lasses, by all accounts.
Of course.
But there's some lovely bear heads in here.
Yeah.
Oh, that gunfighter. I tell you, there is only actually one thing I'm slightly disappointed by with this.
Go on.
And it's more of a personal thing than anything else, so this isn't a criticism of the actual kit. Part of the reason I was thinking it might be an upgrade for the existing science kit was I was hoping to have sort of like crouching legs and some extra weapon options.
Yep.
Because one thing I'd quite like to have seen that's featured a lot of the lore is heavy guard infantry, carapace armored troopers with heavy stubbers on belt rigs. And I'd have loved to have seen bits to do that with a Scion. But that's
yeah,
I can come. I've got ideas for how to do it myself if I need to, so that's not a massive issue. But these do look absolutely lovely.
yeah, yeah, they do. The only thing that I'm like predominantly coming at this from a 40k viewpoint, the only thing that I dislike is it looks like the squad is built around being more obviously kill team focused because that's a game it's for, but like less standard squad lineup of 8 dudes with standard guns, 2 dudes like leader and heavy weapon or special weapon or whatever. It seems a bit more mix and match. Thank you. Yes, it's not the backpack, it's the gun and the battery. That's what makes it a hot shot, as we were saying before.
Although I did like in the animatic where one guy pulls the mag out and replaces it with the cable into his backpack just for that continuous power supply. That was
Yeah.
that's actually kind of fun. I like that.
It reminded me of the combat drop that the Ghost did in. I can't remember which book it is. I literally
Guns
read.
of Tanith.
Yeah, literally read it 2 days ago. But where Milo has like the 25 mag clip, 25 bullet clip, and then swaps it for like the 50 or whatever.
Yeah, swaps it for the drum mag because the drum would have gotten in the way of the drop. Yeah, that's kind of cool actually. That they thought of stuff like that for this.
They keep mentioning Valkyries. Are we getting flyers in Kill Team?
You know, it'd be hilarious if bare minimum these guys get to call in an airstrike. Valkyrie.
Yeah. Oh god, they just keep doing things that I'm working on at the moment.
See, I need to get Valkyrie to at some point because you know what's funny?
It's gone.
I actually own a Valkyrie, the original resin one.
Oh, I hate you.
No, you don't.
So negative.
You don't hate me because it's an absolute son of a bitch to build and paint.
That all the more reason that I hate you. Do you not understand how much I enjoy difficult kits? I'll bitch about them, I'll moan about them, but I love the challenge of trying to puzzle it all out and trying to work out how to strengthen joints and like the whole I have to approach this as an engineering problem rather than a model building problem. I love that mindset.
Yeah, and this is like 2002 Forge World resin as well. So the instructions were
a photo.
Yes.
Here is a big photo of all of the parts, and here is a photo of the finished model. Good luck.
Good luck.
Was that almost Tanith Straight Silver she had there?
Yeah, I mean the Scions have always had those kind of daggers on their equipment, which barely anyone ever attaches to them. Because I know I haven't. I've got a bag full of stuff. Oh, he's kitted out, isn't he?
Yeah, these look so good.
See, I like that they're taking the tack from looks of things they used with the Kazkin kit, where the Kazkin has loads of options for specialists, but you don't have to use them.
Yeah.
Because I really want to get this kit in hand to have a mess around. Because that's.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of scope to play with this. I mean, it's something that I've liked with all of the Kill Team boxes, to be honest. They've always been over-equipped in terms of options. So you can really go to town on customization and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the only annoyance I have with half of them is that I've built a squad of Arbites and 2 squads of Kazakin. I've got enough parts left over. I could build, if I get the bodies, I could build another squad of Kazakin at least, and another squad or 2 with Arbites.
Well, apparently it's very similar with some of the new Necro kits, like the Hive Secundus box. There's enough parts in there to build an entire another gang of I can't remember what they are. Not Spirers.
The Van Sar dudes.
Yes. Yeah, if you have enough body parts on hand, you can build an entire gang of Van Sar out of them. In addition to what you can build anyway. These look really good.
Oh man, these do. Those wings are lovely bits of sculpting work. And they've just gone all in on making them look like evolved insects. They're clearly bugs, but they're also not bestial.
The one thing they could have done that would have made this better is transparent wings.
Ooh.
There was a kit bash with the external version of Necromunda
Mm.
where somebody took the giant creature things and kit bashed transparent insect wings on them, and it looked amazing. I would love to see these with that kind of work on them.
I have no doubt someone will take a stab at doing it.
Oh god, yeah. Possibly even me.
Well, translucent resin's a thing.
I have to do it by hand. I can't model for toffee.
Well, I mean, translucent resin.
Oh no, I already know how to do it. I'd use clear acrylic and then just
Mm.
panel line the veins and stuff on it.
Yeah.
It'd be a nightmare, but
You know what would work as well? Have you seen those easy? Well, you could just use green stuff, but get one of these kits, make molds of all the wings, and there's
and
UV
then
reactive. There's transparent UV reactive resin that
yeah,
like you can get from different places. Just use that.
yeah, and then just paint like the bone sections.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
This is quite an interesting release. I know it's not really a surprise given rumors have been floating around, but it's a bit more in depth than I think a lot of us expected to see.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
is nice that we are seeing things like the Vespid come back in
yeah.
plastic.
It's one thing that I've always disliked where the tower concerned. Like we know they're a collective of species,
Mm,
but we only ever really see Tau.
yeah,
Give us more.
yeah. I think we might be getting to a place now with how many Imperial kill teams they've done. And let's be honest, they've now covered a massive chunk of
Yep.
stuff we never thought we'd see in plastic.
Yeah. Hell, we never thought we'd see some of these again.
Yeah. They've got to be looking at a lot of the Xenos stuff and going, what can we add here? So,
Yeah.
I mean, we know that the Aspect Warriors will get done at eventually, some form or other. But to see stuff like the Vespid, and if they could look at other stuff like that, go for those deep cuts, that's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see if they did like they do with Inquisitorial Agents, if they did like a plastic Court of the Archon for Drukhari.
Oh,
With all their specialists, that would be.
there are so many things they can explore in this setting, which
Yeah.
I think the use of games like Kill Team will allow for. Because like you obviously doing a full faction in 40k is a big, expensive, high risk affair.
Absolutely.
Single boxes for Kill Team, you can go ham. And if they have additional rules for 40k, more power to them.
Yeah, it's kind of why I've not been too disappointed that we've not seen an Underworld equivalent in 40k. So AOS has Warcry and Underworld.
Yep.
But 40k has Necromunda and Kill Team, which
Yep.
both do very different things. But it means that Kill Team is a place where they can do some really fun, weird stuff that also goes in the game. Whereas Necromunda, they can just go ham on all the weird Imperial nonsense.
It's interesting, right? Because 40k as a setting's always been quite grounded, been quite almost believable, but you've never really seen the bigger picture stuff on the tabletop. You've only ever read about it. Then you've got the Imperial life covered by Necromunda. So, like, what it's like on an Imperial planet, all the intrigue, all the plots, all the assassinations, everything. All the bizarre little careers and sub-factions.
Yeah.
And then Kill Team is, here is all the weird military shit that you never see.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
Ooh, that.
I'm sorry, did he just say it can go invisible?
I think he did, yes.
Oh dear God.
I'm still taken with the Vespid's just overall design. It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, they are
But also,
gorgeous minis.
And the heads as well. There's real.
There's menace to them.
There's expression to them. You feel
like there's looks of glee and anger and which for an insectoid is quite impressive to pull off.
Yeah. You feel like these are actually... They're intelligent. They're
Yeah.
perhaps not individuals we think of it, but they're not tyrannids. They're not
Yeah.
not that sort of bugs. They're much more
Yeah.
thinking, reasonable.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I wasn't planning on buying this.
Operative word there, weren't.
Yeah, its launch coincides with a planned trip to Warhammer World, where I was going to be buying planes. Because that might change now.
Well, I mean, you could buy this and a plane.
I want more planes. I've got an army list where there's 10 of them.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. Everybody says the weakened edition. I don't care. Try fighting 10 of them.
I will admit, I would like to have at least a Thunderbolt and a Classic Lightning in my available, because they're such nice designs. I did want a Marauder at one point, but that's just too much space for that wingspan.
Well, I'm hitting the point where I need to think about actually sorting storage before I can really buy anything else, because between all the tanks and the planes and the other stuff that I'm working on at the moment, I don't have any room to put them.
I mean, I can't really comment given that I have sprues stacked around me at this point on top of...
Yeah, I've seen your room.
Yeah. It's fine. I know I have a problem. I can deal with it. I can stop anytime I like. What do you mean? Why? What? I don't
Says the crack-addled addict. No, this plastic crack is proper Moorish, though.
It is. But I've been working from backlog. In the last week, I've built 20 Death Company.
Doing better than me. I am still working on the Valkyrie and the Taurus. And I've had more shit arrive. Yeah.
I mean, I did build a Rogel Dawn this week as well. And
nice.
And that Archon Studios Wolverine tank I've had sitting around for the last year.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that. It's a weird look. It's weird. It's like 20 years ago Games Workshop plastic, but not in a bad way.
No, it is quite a heavy kit, in all fairness. The hull, once you build it, it's weird because the instructions are odd.
Yeah.
Very odd. They feel a little out of order. Because as I was building it, I realised that I'd built some stuff following instructions. I was like, but this should be done this way, because that makes much more sense. So in the end, I kind of took the instructions as a rough idea rather than as gospel. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's actually bigger than a Russ. It's midway between a Russ and a Rogel Dawn.
Wow, okay.
Which I wasn't expecting. The turret is huge.
It does look massive.
Yeah. I mean, I am looking at it and thinking, just off the spare parts I have from the Solar Auxiliary Russ I did as a tank commander, I could probably fit sponson weapons in, because there's little cutouts on the side of it, where I'm assuming someone pokes a las gun. But you could easily fit heavy flamers in there instead.
Nice.
And I was going to try and fit something in the front of the hull, but I might go coaxial instead next to the main gun. But again, the gun is a whopper as well. That's almost as long as the Rogel Dawn's cannon.
It's a weird kit. Like, it's clearly designed to fit into the game, while also still being legally distinct. And kind of capturing the right feel.
Yes.
While, like, as I say, the plastic, like, everything I've seen of it, it reminds me of the Rust 20 years ago when it first came out. It's that slightly chunky, slightly soft looking.
Well, it's not even soft. I mean, the weird thing is that on the turret and the hull, you have to put a bit of the panel greebling on. It's like some of the armor plates you have to put on yourself. They're not molded detail.
Yeah.
But it's got a fully detailed interior.
Yeah, you said.
For the for the cargo compartment, and there's actually stuff in the crew compartment as well, which wasn't
Is
expected.
kind of nuts for a kit like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got it in hand now, and just off the hull itself, I could see a wheeled variant, and I'm not surprised Mantic have a variant with a resin upgrade kit to make it just a straight APC.
Hmm.
Remove because you don't build the turret for that one. They've got a resin bit that kind of covers the front portion around the cupola mount.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tempted to pick one of those up at some point to see how that looks and builds, because actually I need to build a Dracosian to see how that matches up, because it might be about the same size as one of those, in all fairness, which is a very interesting comparison. But part of me is tempted to try and run it as a Taurus.
Yeah,
It's a little longer, but not by much. And it's the
they're
only
another weirdly sized vehicle.
yeah. The Taurus has always been weird. I mean, I'd like the kit. I built one. I'd like to get
Same.
some more, because it's actually quite a fun kit to build. It's loaded with
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
But
There's lots to do with it.
it's just the design of it is. I mean, I get the logic, the idea that in universe it can climb almost a vertical surface, which is hilarious. But it does look like it should be. I mean, there's a reason there's so many wheeled versions of it out there.
Well, yeah.
Because
It does. It just looks shit. Let's be honest.
I mean, it does look a lot better either as a six-wheeler or a half-track.
Yes.
Four sets of tracks is always an odd look if it's not a H tank, to be fair.
Yeah.
And the Taurus doesn't look like it deserves to have those for all four sets of treads. Let's be honest.
Yeah. If they were just longer or designed differently or weren't so tall,
Hmm.
it's just such a weird looking vehicle.
It really is. Oh, and Warcom have got all the lovely, lovely pictures up on the website now.
Of course they do, because they've just done a preview and all of this can now be made live.
Yeah.
Officially.
Oh, I didn't realise that lass with the knife, the dagger out, she's actually got the scabbard on her chest. It's actually part of the chest sculpt. That's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's have a gander.
And I do like that the plasma and Malkin are both shorter patterns.
Yeah.
Almost bullpup, but not quite. Which is
Yeah. Yeah, like clearly designed for a drop troop.
Oh, but I like they are a specific type of they're not scions so much as very specific. They're like the
I mean,
special.
it
They're the specialists of the specialists.
it makes sense though, right? Like again, thinking back to Guns of Tanith, they like the training regimen they had to go on to use what is effectively the same rig.
Yeah.
And even then, you were barely trained for it. So it does make sense that it would be its own unique, separate unit within the wider Scions group, because you're always going to need specialists for this sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
And even like their approach to combat is going to be vastly different because they're deep strike. Like Scions can get deep and dirty, but these guys get deep.
Yeah, I mean, these look much more intentional for that's what they do, and I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually still have all the same cues as the traditional Scions. The only thing they're missing is the hip skirt armor. Everything else is there, in all fairness. Actually, hang on. I have some Scion bodies I've been building right next to me. Let me just have
Now the question I have
I
is,
just thought I'd check, but no, they don't have the same webbing around the upper thighs. I wasn't too sure on that point, to be fair.
are they going to change the Scions kit from a 5-man squad to a 10-man squad finally? Because oh my god.
I mean, you can take Scions as 10-man.
Yeah, but they're sold as 5-man units.
Well, yeah.
Like, if they've now introduced a new range of Scions, are we finally going to see a redesign that they badly need to have them comparable? And is it going to be a 10-man unit? Like a 10-man box, rather?
That's interesting. Because if they did that, they'd probably have to redo make the command squad a separate kit as well.
Yep.
And would they,
which is kind of the trend.
Would they take that step, though? That's interesting. I mean, my suspicion is, I mean, we'll know when the Guard Codex drops, which I imagine will be probably not till the new year at this point.
Do we have any sort of release schedule at the moment? I
No, they've
can't
not updated.
remember.
They've not updated the roadmap. Imperial Agents was the last codex confirmed, and then they announced Blood Angels.
Yep.
So we know Blood Angel. Well, Blood Angel should be up for pre-order soon, hopefully. He says optimistically.
Yeah, I'd imagine towards the end of the month.
And the codex official release should follow about a month later on previous form.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Yeah. I mean, they are starting to catch up to their announcement schedule again. Like for a while, it was taking a month or two from announcement to stuff releasing, and now it seems like a week or two tops.
Yeah.
So it does feel like they're starting to get back on top of the backlog of work they had, because COVID obviously hit them hard. Production demands hit them hard. They're still probably fighting production issues because there's still lots of stuff out of stock on the shop. But I think the whittling down of kits has helped extraordinarily well.
Yeah,
and now they've just been fighting warehousing problems.
And I have to say, I do like how although they have retired a lot of stuff over the last 5 years, in the last 12 months, they've also bought a lot of stuff back or put it on made to order.
Yep.
And I think that's a very good thing for them to do, because there's a lot of companies that wouldn't do that at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely,
when you look at the amount of kits they're bringing back for the old world, the amount of stuff they've rolled out for Horus Heresy, Necro, I mean, my God, you remember what it was like in the late 90s, early 2000s. The amount of plastic we're getting in that for the moment is the variety is just insanely good.
Yeah, like I remember, as you say, 90s, 2000s, you'd get a drop and that'd be it for months. And then you might get another drop, and then that'd be it for months. You might get a whole new range out. Like when Tau drops, you got a fair chunk of minis released.
Yeah.
But then it was dry for ages. Like people some of the complaints from people I've seen online today, they don't know how good they've got it compared to what it was like. And I don't mean to sound like, ooh, you kids today. Like, genuinely, it's never been a better time to be a hobbyist, even if you just stick to Games Workshop stuff.
Yeah.
The scope, breadth, and speed of releases is, we've never seen anything like this.
No. And, I mean, I'm amazed. We spoke about it in the chat, but I'm amazed that some of these bigger boxes haven't sold out in the last few weeks. I mean, those free Imperial Agents Battlefield groups.
Yeah, like
they're
are they available? Are they actually still available on Warhammer.com?
I'm not sure. They're still up for pre-order on Goblin.
Yeah, this is what I mean. So, like, first-party sales will always be higher because people know the brand, they trust the brand. That's how it works. Second party will always be lower because unless you work with that company quite a lot or you're aware of them, you're probably not going to trust them as much. So I fully expect stuff to sell out on Games Workshop's website. Absolutely, 100% of the time. Secondary, stuff has been flying off the shelves, either due to a lack of stock or due to the extraordinarily high demand. So the fact that they're sticking around now.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of these stores have also been quite open recently how they were getting really quite low allocations from GW.
Yeah.
Lower than they expected to get. And
well, you say that.
Well,
there's one or two notable stores that have been screeching about it, which, looking between the lines, we know they've ordered more than they would ever be able to sell.
Yeah, but I am aware that there's a couple of there's this is just me speaking personally. I tend to use Goblin Gaming for a lot of my GW stuff, purely because I've used them a lot. They're reliable, have a great experience. I've used a lot of the other stores as well out there, even the Fluff's unofficial Bet Noir Wayland on occasion. No one's perfect, but as a rule, I've generally had good experiences from a lot of these places in recent years.
Yeah.
But it's not been uncommon for 10 a.m. on a Saturday, go on there, go into the pre-orders, look for a particular set I want to get, and it's gone and it's not even.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've refreshed between 10 o'clock. It's been there. I put it in my basket, gone to check out, and it's gone.
Yeah.
That's not happened anywhere near as much recently.
Yes.
I mean, some stuff has sold out sometimes initially.
Yep.
Sometimes in like first. I mean, with Scaventide, they did batches throughout the day of their pre-order allocation. But stuff like the Mechanicum stuff for Horus Heresy.
That's still readily available. I'm actually just looking on Warhammer.com. You can still buy that first party as well. Same with the 2 Knights, which the Knights box doesn't surprise me. 200 quid is a lot of money at the moment.
150 is the second party price as a rule.
Yeah.
Which is, to be fair, a lot more attractive, but still a very hefty ask. I mean, I really want a Knight Castigator badly. I'm not sure I want a Knight Asheron for an extra 50 quid though.
If I had the room and if I wasn't slowing my spending for Warhammer World trips, I probably would have jumped at 150. 190 is a push, but I can see the value in the kit for that price, considering they're 115 each normally?
Yes. Direct from GW Bar at 115 a pop.
Yeah.
Which I mean, they are stupidly detailed kits.
Yes. They're some of the best large kits they've ever done, in my opinion. I'd love to get my hands on one just to build. I would never field it because I barely play. I just want to build them because they're so well designed. They're so well engineered. It looks like they've learned a lot from Bandai when it comes to Gunpla and stuff. Granted, it's in my head there is still a separation between hobby kits and Gunpla, because Gunpla are what I term as engineering kits, where they're designed to be like movable and posable and stuff, whereas hobby kits are static. For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very distinct difference between the two. I mean, Gunpla, as a rule, I've noticed how the plastics tend to be thinner in places, and like you say, they're designed for very different purposes.
Yeah.
So, but the engineering that goes into not just Bandai with the Gunpla stuff, but a lot of the other companies out of Japan who are doing those sorts of things. The engineering,
like the Zoids kits that I've been building of late have been phenomenal. They've been overly fiddly. Like, I think they can still improve in terms of how fiddly some of them are and how weak some of the joints are in places. Like the Red Horn kit, if you look at that the wrong way, it splits in two. Splits in three with the joint around the front waist and the rear waist.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's appallingly weak. But when it holds together, it's great. Trying to get my fat fingers in to fit all the pipes and stuff, though, not going to happen.
Yeah.
I managed it. I don't know how.
Yeah, my first modern non-Gundam kit I built years ago now was a Macross Delta Valkyrie.
Nice.
Fully transformable. From Macross Delta. By the way, you get a chance, go and watch it because it's bonkers.
I love Macross, so yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mainstreamed 7 Delta over like a week and can't get the songs out of my head now. God damn it. But it's the fact that everything you don't have, right? You have to remove maybe 4 parts to get a smoother look in robot or fighter mode.
Yep.
But that's optional. You don't have to do that.
Yep.
But you have to put like a metal pin through the most important hinge, which blew me away because I'd never had to do that before.
Yeah, I mean, there's some tank kits that use metal parts and stuff in them now as well. It's absolutely bonkers where some companies are going for hobbying.
Yeah, but that sort of kit though is the fact that it's completely push fit. You don't have to glue any Gundam or Macross kit. A lot of them you don't need to glue them at all.
Yeah, like Gundam, I know you don't. I built a couple. My wife's a huge nerd for them. There's been a few points where I've wanted to for adhesion purposes because I just don't trust joints. But yeah. But this is why I refer to them more as engineering kits rather than model kits, because model kits to me are static, they're stable, that you put them in a pose and they stay that way forever. Gundam are designed to be posable.
And some of them are stupidly posable.
Oh god, yeah. swinging back to pre-orders and stuff,
Yeah.
all the Imperial Agents boxes are still in stock with
Yeah.
Warhammer.
Oh wow.
How much of that is down to overproduction or lack of sales? I don't know. I know the Codex has been slammed by a few YouTubers, many
Yeah.
of which I think don't fully get the point of it. I saw
Hmm.
Winter's video. I feel like he was the closest to understanding what it was for, but I
Yeah.
also kind of feel like he may not have fully grasped it, or maybe it's my interpretation of what I think
Hmm.
the faction is supposed to be that's different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I've got it.
Um,
I've got it on pre-order. I'm looking forward
oh
to it.
yeah, same.
The
I
only thing I
mean,
find weird is that they've removed inquisitorial stormtroopers by all
yeah,
accounts, which have always
yeah.
been kind of like that was you had acolytes, you had all the weird stuff, and they had stormtroopers as their bread and butter.
Mm,
So that feels a little odd. I think I do get why, because they wanted to. I think they did want to use it as a way to bring in all the really weird stuff and keep it
yes,
very focused. I collect Death Watch, so but I'm not as salty as a lot of people have been. I mean,
yeah,
all the kill teams going to Legends, they're still there.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
as the Warcom article said, you've got a Death Watch contingent that's allied with a bunch of strangely black armored space marines.
yeah. I mean, you just give everyone the Death Watch as the chapter keyword.
Yeah,
I mean, it is odd that they don't have the actual Death Watch units don't have the Adeptus Astartes keyword because that is kind of important.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that gets a an
yeah.
FAQ because that does seem like a tad bit of an oversight.
At the same time, it depends on what they're trying to treat Death Watch as, right? Because
Hmm.
the way I've always seen Death Watch is they aren't supposed to be a large strength faction. They're small specialist squads. They get dispatched to certain battlegrounds where they know
Hmm.
that they're taking on Xenos, and they work in support of or with the support of other factions. And I think
Yeah.
that's what a lot of what we're seeing in the Imperial Agents
Hmm.
Codex is supposed to be.
Absolutely. It's just kind of I get the annoyance because it was never a faction that was ever really asked for. I know that prior to the Death Watch Codex, I had seen people do full Death Watch armies,
Yeah,
but that was purely as a bit of flavour.
yeah,
They bought. I mean, originally you had the Death Watch kill team as a single squad you bought as an
like an
ally.
allied faction. Yeah.
Yeah, you bought a pack of metal shoulder pads with some metal heads in it. I went to town. I still have my original Death Watch kill team in my
Of
existing one.
course, so bloody negative.
Just because I used metal Necromunda, what was it? Malkador arms for lightning claws.
Oh, cool.
Because I thought, well, they use Xenos weaponry. They're supposed to be Xenos tech. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Uh, I used all the metal chapter shoulder pads, bits of different upgrade kits at the time. Yeah, I went ham.
And
Metal.
it's doing stuff on that smaller scale is exactly the right feel for them.
Hmm.
For me,
But
like
I mean, the Death Watch, the Kill Team Cassius, brilliant. I freaking love how that is a snapshot of all these different chapters.
yeah,
But then when they did the full Kill Team kit, I really liked that when I threw it, and the Codex as well. The original Death Watch Codex had some really wonderful stuff in it about how they operated and why they would deploy in a larger scale,
mm,
which they kind of played with in the 8th and 9th ones, where they said that Gilliman just donated chapters worth of Primaris to the Death Watch.
yeah,
As you do, because he has that many Primaris apparently.
yeah. I have an
But
infinite amount. You get a Primaris. You get a Primaris.
yeah, but I do get the salts some people have.
Yeah,
I think they need to take a step back, let the Codex breathe, see what GW, because I mean, month or two after release, there'll be at least an initial FAQ to the
it's
Codex.
it's not even that. I think the problem is so much of the community is built around online influencers.
Mm.
And if an influencer doesn't like something, it becomes the narrative. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a conversation I've been having in a different Discord. The one for Rabbi Ian. Very cool bunch of people, by the way. So if you do subscribe to his Patreon, jump in. They are a lovely bunch.
I don't because my Patreon budget's a bit tapped, but please tell them we all said hi.
I occasionally do name drop the Fluff and folks in there. So yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. So I was having a conversation with somebody about resins from Workshop a while ago,
Mm.
and how it feels very much that the entire community seems to be very much against all resin without really looking at it for what it is.
Mm.
And how a lot of that has come from influencers who've just gone, oh, it's resin shit.
Yeah.
Without, because let's be honest, all right, Finecast was terrible when it first came out.
It was,
It
and
has
even
been refined and improved and improved and made better so much. And now, all right, they've kind of stopped it altogether, but you were getting kits designed for Finecast,
absolutely,
which were damn near flawless.
yeah. And the thing is that was kind of like the thing that intrigued me about Finecast, the fact that although they did translate a lot of metal kits over to it, which did have issues, a lot of stuff
Yep.
was specifically designed for it. Because I think you had there were the 4 masters per chapter
Yep.
that
Eyes and
weren't
Horn.
outside of Eisenhorn. You had the Chaos Iron, the Ironsmith.
Yep. The Adept Soriatis woman from the Blanchard work.
Yep. That's an astonishing mini, in all
Yep.
fairness.
And the stuff you can do in resin that I don't think you can really do with plastic.
Yeah,
And
well,
people,
the thing people forget is that resin allows you to get folds you can't in metal because of the tooling.
Yep.
Because the metal tooling for plastic, you can't bend, whereas for molds for resin, they can have those folds because they're flexible, and the
well,
resin flexes.
so there's things you can do with plastic injection molding that will simulate this. The problem
Yes,
Games Workshop have is they predominantly use two-part casts,
yes,
which means that detail either becomes very smeared, like we've seen with the bonding studs on shoulder pads, or you have to break it down into a two-part piece, which
like
causes people to get it, like the bonding studs on the shoulder pads in the
yeah,
Heresy range, which causes significant upset for people that just want a one-part kit. And I get
yeah.
why people want a one-part kit, but it's a trade-off. Do you
It
want
is
shit-looking minis, or do you want awesome-looking minis with more work? I do
absolutely.
know from rumor, I've never seen the kit myself, but apparently the modern Baneblade kit was made with a 3-part mold. I keep saying I'm going to buy one to actually take a look.
I have built I've built the Shadow Sword out of the Baneblade kit. I'd have to go. Honestly, I might have to buy another one just to double check. To be honest,
Yeah, it's on my. It's one
it
of those
wouldn't
things in the back
surprise
of my
me.
head.
It wouldn't have surprised me because of just how involved a kit it is. Because
Yeah,
each of the sprues for that kit. I mean, it is now one of the older large kit. It was
yeah,
one of the first of that scale
yeah.
HW did alongside the Stomper. So it does show its age a little bit.
Mm.
But I mean, it's a lovely build.
I can imagine. Like I've got the very first plastic one,
Mm.
from back when fifth ed came out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I remember when nephew was collecting Guard. I went in to buy some Guard minis, and the guy on behind the I was long out of the hobby at this stage. The guy behind the counter was just like, "Oh right, what you buying? Guard? Yeah, I don't play it for my nephew. Oh right, have you ever played? Yeah, I collected Marines back in the day. Oh cool, you should look at this box set. It's got loads of Marines in it. You're right, I should look at this box set. It's got loads of Marines in it. Is that a Baneblade box set? Yeah, we just released them. I remember when they were resin. Right, here's my wallet. Give me everything." He
So what
knew what he was doing.
Darren's saying there, he failed his psychic save.
Of course.
He took maximum psychic damage there.
I mean, the Baneblade kit at the time was like, I think 50 quid. It wasn't
Yeah.
that expensive. And I was just more mind blown that I could buy a Baneblade for 50 quid.
Yeah.
It's like, I've wanted one of those since I saw one at, oh god, I've got to have this.
I mean, for resin was like 120, 150.
Yeah, yeah.
So to have it in
And I would have
plastic
been
for a fraction of
like
that.
early to mid teens when the resin one came out and had
Yep.
no hope of having that kind of money at the time. Like I was earning like 3-4 quid an hour doing a bar job, you know?
Yeah.
I was never going to buy that kit. So yeah, being able to buy one in plastic blew my mind. But yeah, so I've never built the modern one. I would like to because by all accounts it's a 3-part mold kit, and I want to see it for myself because I know there are differences between them that allow you to do more complex sculpts and shapes and things. But this, as you were saying, the thing with resin and the thing with Finecast is it allows you to do undercuts far better than you can with plastic.
Yeah.
And I think they'd got the tech to the point where it was entirely viable to use. And it's the same with Forge World resin as well, right? It's got its detractors who hate it. And a lot of it is noise generated, I think, by influencers who just, oh, it's resin kit shit. Because resin is resin, without understanding that different resin is very different. Like, I've built garage kits on and off for years. I've got a Sailor Moon one that I bought for my wife that's still unfinished because I need to break out my air gun for it and I just can't be bothered because white is a pain in the arse. That's made with fucking boat resin of all things. Like,
That's interesting.
it's horrible. It reeks. It's hard to work with. Sanding it was a nightmare. So yeah, I've worked with all kinds of resin. Forge World resin and even Finecast is lovely by comparison. Like, I love Forge World kits. They're a joy for me to build because I like the challenge.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people dismissing mainly Forge World kits because of how the stuff's been moved across to Legends more and more.
Yeah.
Which I understand that. As someone who built and painted a Deathwatch Leviathan, trust me, I get that because I'm gonna have to brutalize that bastard.
I mean, you can still use it in Heresy, right?
Not as Deathwatch, I can't.
No, of course they didn't exist, but the Leviathan's still a valid.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I have issues with how they did the plastic Contemptor and Leviathan and had rules for them for the back half of the whole edition. Then suddenly, after people bought them, they said, "Oh, by the way, we can't balance all these marine kits we've made, so you can't use these in 40k anymore." That's
you
another
can.
conversation.
They're just not balanced.
Yeah,
and I think there's too much weight placed on the competitive side.
Yes, there is. I mean, honestly, I'm just going to use this thing as a Brutalis standard because it's the same size.
I mean,
it really is.
Unless you're playing a tournament, does it matter?
I don't think it even matters in the tournament because it's on the same base as a Brutalis Dreadnought.
Fair.
It's the same size. It's the resin kit, but it's still the same size as a Brutalis Dreadnought.
Mean, the only time I will ever play a tournament, I expect to be placed bottom. I expect to not make it to the top tables, and I expect to just show up with an awesome army where people just look at it and go, "Oh, see what you've done there. That's really cool," and then have a chat about the game.
Yeah.
So I don't even care about not being able to take them in tournaments because most of what I do is just going to be with mates.
I mean, I attended 4GTs in Nottingham back in the day, and I've been real back in the day, like 98 to 2003 kind of period, and I only ever took my first army was all infantry jungle fighters.
Cool.
I had nothing with a higher strength than a missile launcher. Given the one game I ran up against 2 Eldar Wraith Lords, that was a harsh time.
Yeah.
Second year, I took Raptors Space Marines.
Nice.
Which was fun because I had 2 Devi squads, one that had all las cannons, one that had all heavy bolters. 1 tactical squad, an assault squad in a Razorback, and then 2 squads of scouts. I got hammered, but one game at least was hilarious because myself and a Plague Marine player, we had 1 table quarter that was contested by our 2 tanks. As a Rhino, if you want hilarity, picture a Rhino and a Razorback basically doing donuts around each other, trying to just pink through, get enough glancing shots through to disable the tank.
I think I've been there and done that in second ed.
Yeah. Given that my Razorback only had twin heavy bolters and his Rhino had a basically combi bolter, viewers, you have to bear in mind that Rhino had an armor of 10 or 11. No, it was armor 11 in a lot of places, and 10 on the rear. So I needed at least a 6 on most facings for my tank, and he had to get to the rear and get a 6 to glance. It was hilarious. We were in stitches the whole game. And then my third tournament army, I basically mixed in regular guard and units from the Kazakhstan Jungle Fighter Codex.
Nice.
So I had snipers who couldn't move. I had to deploy them and leave them there. So I was not in it to win games. I was in it just for crack.
Yeah, of course, which is the best way to play. Like,
Absolutely.
The games that I will always remember, even years and years later, are the ones where we just walk away laughing our heads off. Like, God versus Dark Eldar in my mate's bedroom. I think it was like 1,000, maybe 1,500 point game. There were three of us. One of them was just narrating and just chatting the way through. I was God, he was Dark Eldar. Dark Eldar squad charged a Guardsman regiment, absolutely tanked them because, of course, they did. The nearby commissar went, I'm not having that shit. You ain't running off. Shot one of them. He went down. Guard squad just went, yeah, we ain't moving. We don't want that to happen to us. The next turn was me. A Russ, it might have been the Demolisher. My memory's a little off here. Swung its turret round, and this was back in the day when you could fire on your own units that were in combat. So I dropped a shell. It missed, but still landed near enough to hit both units, took out enough of the Dark Eldar to cause them to take a panic check. They shat themselves, ran off, and my now suddenly extra happy guard unit had also taken significant losses from that shot. Just went, we should chase them. And cut down the entire squad. And the three of us just sat there, just like, did that just happen? Did we just see a guard? What just happened?
Yeah. I still have fond memories of one of the practice games I played with my housemate at university for one of that last GT. My guard veteran squad tossed a demolition charge at his devilfish. And the damn thing scattered back. But it didn't just clip the squad, it still clipped the devilfish.
Oh.
So half the veteran squad disappeared. The devilfish blew up. The Pathfinders deployed. And then the squad's heavy flamer went, nice to see you. And cooked them. The squad then died to mass poisoning fire because they were out in the open and the devilfish was now gone.
Yeah.
It was just the hilarity of the squad managed to wipe themselves out as much and two targets in the same turn. It was hilarious.
Yeah, of course. That sounds incredibly funny to see. But it's like, this is the thing with tournaments and me now, right? It's like, I play for the laugh. The whole point of tournaments for me is just, if I was to go to one, it'd be to show up with a really thematic, really cool looking army that would get absolutely trounced. So I'd just sit there on the bottom tables with other guys that showed up with absolutely awesome looking armies.
Just having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares if you win or lose, right? It's all about getting together with a bunch of nerds that have the same tastes and stuff that you do, that you can chat shit with, and that you can just have a laugh with over the absurd stuff that you get up to. And this is why I think the absolute manic focus that, I don't know if it's entirely Games Workshop's fault. I think they're reacting to the community as much as anything. But the absolute manic focus on tournament play is to the system's detriment to a degree. Because yes, you can have that fun. Yes, you can still do all of that. But the very small, in my opinion, very vocal subset of players that are diehard tournament only kind of cause Workshop to have to react to that and then go down the path of, well, we need to make balancing easier. Say bye to all of these units.
Yeah. It is a shame.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can still play them with friends, and people keep forgetting that.
I mean, I actually do respect the fact that there is so much stuff available to play in Legends.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, you can... I mean, I think they still have AOS lists for a lot of the stuff that went to... They removed to put back into what it was for Legends.
Yep. Exactly. And
it's kind of nuts.
Every so often you'll see somebody going, well, those rules won't be around forever. And it's like, well, so far I've seen no evidence of this. Show me a single mini that they no longer have rules for, or they aren't saying here is a suitable proxy rule to use for it.
Yeah.
Because you can't find one.
I mean, the biggest complaint I had about Legends was when, back in 8th, midway through, when they revamped the entire Space Marine line, gave everyone 2 wounds base.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it to any of the units in Legends. So
Yes.
Legion of the Damned still only had a single wound. But
I
come the
get
next,
you
which I
kind of get
got.
why.
Yeah, I get that. But then come 9th edition, they redid all the Legends rules.
Yep.
Lo and behold, Legion of the Damned 2 wounds, and my God, were they a tasty unit to have
Yeah,
mess around
absolutely.
with.
And the only time I've ever seen them completely remove a Legends rule is when it's suddenly got rules in the main game.
Yeah.
Like, you think about the Imperial Champion guy that was limited availability, so went straight into Legends.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh, he's not getting support, shit.
And he's in the command squad box it.
Yeah. Yeah, just give them time. It's limited availability. They don't want to put rules into the main system for something that not everybody's going to own because it's a fairness thing.
It was a nice. It was the sort of mini is why I like all these commemorative ones they do. It was fluffy. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I bought 2 of them. I've done one kit bashed up to go on my Space Wolves as company heroes for Ragnar Blackmane, a custom squad I built. The other one is on the shelf behind me. I might put him into Raptors or Crimson Fist. I'm not sure at the moment.
I still need to look at the 2 Bayard's Revenge miniatures that I bought. I started one of them and then just shelved it.
I do have 2 of those. I'm tempted to use one of those for the Crimson Fists instead, because I've used Sergeant Jovan to build my Crimson Fist captain.
I still haven't got around to buying him.
It's a nice mini. I was glad that they did the sword brethren though for Black Templars, because it meant I could get a cloak that went the right direction to match his loincloth. But no, it's a lovely mini. I didn't need much work. I had a few more bullet impacts, gave him a fist shoulder pad. Oddly enough, I gave him a head from the Space Wolf kit.
I can imagine that working.
The Wolfguard one with the Mohawk. So I wanted him to be like their new 4th company captain, so he had a little bit of pirate about him. Given how the Crimson Fist have always had a slightly, in terms of naming, they've always gone a bit more Spanish and Portuguese.
Yep.
So I want him to have a bit of that nautical piratical vibe to him.
Makes sense.
I need to get him painted up, which will surprise no one. I need to get something painted up. What a shocker! But
David owns everything. None of it is painted.
Surprise! But he's standing on Orc. I like the fact that Boyard's Revenge is stabbing an Orc. That gives a nice bit of thematic coherence to the 2 of them. So I'd like to do him a full command squad with that sort of vibe, and I think that mini would look good as a fist. To be fair, I could do things to give him a bit more than just that slightly bare Emperor's Champion look. To be fair, but it's all about just having fun. I mean, if it's a Space Marine, if you can't find a way to fit a Space Marine into your Space Marine army,
I do worry that like some of that aspect of the hobby is slowly being eroded, in part by Games Workshop's we will only release stuff that we have rules for, which I fully get. I don't like it, but I fully get.
Absolutely, I understand it.
Although they are kind of breaking that a bit with the Heresy and the Old World at the moment, because there are miniatures that have rules. Sorry, there are rules for things that they don't have minis for right now. Which it does make me wonder if the original argument of it being because of the lawsuit they lost not being totally true, and it just them wanting to tighten up the range a bit for a while. Like 40k is very it is their main system, right? It's the one that everybody knows. It's the one that all the competitive players play. They have zero interest in anything else. And it's been edging that way since before I got back into the game. And I kind of get why they would want to tighten the rules around it to cater to that audience. So I get why they would want to limit what's available rules-wise. I get why they would want to limit what's available kits-wise, because it makes that easier to do. And they've evidenced that by going, we're going to kill these off balance.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I've been looking at a couple of third-party resins of named Space Marine characters that aren't official, but they're these characters redone to match the Primera style aesthetic. And I'm thinking, you know what? I might pull the trigger just because I could not convert better than I've been debating doing conversions of some of these, but these actually look better than what I could convert myself.
And
I'm more than happy to pay out, mainly because one, I'm never going to a Games Workshop tournament again in my life, no likelihood, and two, they do look really good.
Yeah,
But to the point you made about breaking their rules, have you read this month's White Dwarf yet?
I've got it. I've not. I am so bad for this. I buy stuff, it gets put on the side of the sofa, and then it never gets read.
Well, it's a funny thing. The page, it's a really good issue, before you. If anyone's not got this month's White Dwarf yet, issue 503, seriously, go get it. It's got at least 3 articles that I've gone right to the top of my all-time best White
Oh,
Dwarf article list. They're fantastic. But just before they get into the article on the Astral Templars chamber of the, actually no, it's in amongst the Astral Templars. How do they term it for AOS? Their faction focus. So for Stormcast,
yeah.
they've got a Legends War scroll for Hamilcar Bear Eater,
What?
a character from the Fluff who has quite a big following and artwork, but no miniature.
That'll
They've
be
got
coming.
no. Here's the thing: they've put this legend sheet in there. Here's what they say: below, you can find a war scroll to field him in an Astral Templars army of renown, and maybe even inspire you to convert or kitbash a suitable miniature for him.
Okay.
This is in White Dwarf. I cannot remember the last time they provided rules for a character, admittedly legends, but still, it's a proper war scroll for him with his own personalized rules and everything, with points. And they've said, here's the war scroll. Take a bit of inspiration. Build your own.
That is quite cool, actually.
That's something we've not seen from GW in a very, very long time.
Yeah. Although it does make me wonder if they're doing this as a prelude to them actually releasing him as a miniature.
I'm surprised they haven't done him as a miniature yet, to be honest. Given he's one of the most well-known Stormcast characters outside the ones who actually have minis as of yet. But no, it's an interesting thing to consider.
Yeah. They're such a hard company to work out what they're doing at times. Like,
I know.
you think you understand them, and then they pull a 180 like this.
Yeah.
It's one of the sad things that I enjoy doing. Like, I don't know if it's neurospiciness, don't know if it's just me being me, whatever. But trying to analyze and understand Games Workshop's inner workings is a personal hobby of mine, and I think I've got quite good at it over the years.
Yeah.
And then every so often they do this, and it's like, oh, you've just thrown everything that I thought I knew out of the window. Thanks.
I don't understand. Why are you like this? Yeah.
Are you just there for the money, or are you actually a bunch of hobbyists that enjoy the hobby still? I can't work this out anymore.
I mean, part of me feels like they're like that Tzatziki creator demon who has the 2 heads, and one of them is always vying for control of the other, and it just depends on which one's woken up first in the morning as to how things go.
Yeah, I mean, it's so without going too personal on this, the company I work for at the moment is we work in the energy sector. We want to like stop the environment getting bad. We want to fix things for everybody. We want to make energy cheaper for everybody. Here's all of these cool products that we're doing that are super expensive and aimed at rich people. And that disgusts me because they are targeting a very small part of the market, which isn't going to make that much of a difference. However, the logical commercial side of me understands that you have to do it that way because this shit is expensive.
Yes.
So, like, the idealist in me, which is arguably the Games Workshop hobbyist side of me, is this is appalling. You can't be doing this. You should be doing more to help the people that can't afford it. Games Workshop hobbyist, this is appalling. You should be doing more to push the hobby. Logical, rational side, I fully get this. We need money to exist as business, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Which, again, applicable to Games Workshop. They need to stay viable as a business to keep doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're in a weird spot. Like, they keep flicking between pushing tournament play, pushing tight focus to, oh, by the way, here's some hobby stuff.
Yeah. It's like they go from being the industry's boogeyman to everyone's best friend. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost like a weird abusive relationship, which I mean, it's probably the longest relationship I've ever had in my life. But
No comment.
yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. It's such an interesting place, and this probably getting back to just round up because I've realised how long we've been talking now.
Oh Jesus, yeah, wow.
But yeah, it's such an interesting place to be, isn't it?
Mm,
But it could be a lot worse. Could be
yeah.
better. Could be a lot worse though.
I
And
mean, could it be better?
I think there are ways they probably could, but I think we're in a well, like we said earlier on, we are in an exceptionally good place in terms of what is coming out, and
Yeah, and
and I
like,
and I think they understand where they've had issues, and they are trying to actively fix them.
yes. I
It's to their
mean,
credit.
there is also the external factors. Like,
Mm.
as we say, as hobbyists, it's never been a better time to be in the hobby. Not just because of Games Workshop, but because of the wider industry that's sprung up around it all, where you've
Oh,
got these
absolutely.
tiny little, I call them parasitic companies. It's not the right word to use because it's not very generous to them,
Mm.
but they exist purely because companies like Games Workshop exist. So effectively,
Yeah,
they have a parasitic relationship, and as such, will suffer when Games Workshop do something that changes that relationship. And
yeah.
that's kind of the nature of what they do.
Mm.
Um, there are so many little tiny shops springing up, like hobby shops, like 3D printing companies, like
Yeah,
sculpting companies, like companies that are making kit bash like material and God knows what else. Aftermarket miniature makers. We have never had it better. But
yeah.
I fully get why Games Workshop don't want to see that in their stores because their
Absolutely.
stores, their tournaments, their events are adverts for them.
Yeah,
And I don't think the wider community grasps that at times.
indeed. I mean, I I actually went for a manager's interview with GW at their head office
Oh,
years
wow.
ago now, like maybe 15 years ago now.
Hmm.
And we're talking they paid for my train ticket up to
Damn.
Nottingham. They they paid for me to stay in a hotel overnight.
Wow.
Yeah,
They do like
taxi.
treating people well, to be fair.
Yeah, and I mean it was a big event. There was like maybe 50 of us there,
Hmm.
and we did the whole um group activities thing. And I know for a fact I probably shot myself in the foot there because when I went into the one-on-one interview, I did
Mm.
say one of my things is I would probably not be harsh if on down on someone if I saw them using like maybe a third party shoulder pad or a head
Yeah, they don't
because
want to hear that.
yeah, but my logic's always been, well, you've bought the core kit. That's still money
Yeah,
going to GW. The
yep,
parts are not something that is available from GW, so it's not taking money away from you in any way.
yeah.
So
And I think,
I do see the other point that they want to keep their IP very controlled. They don't want,
yes,
and in
it's,
fairness, it's not just them. I mean, there was a thing years ago now with Private Press. They had a War Machine tournament.
yeah,
There was a whole army that they could not show on stream, even though it did really well,
mm,
because the player had lovingly converted every miniature to look like a member of the Avengers and the X-Men.
oh, wow.
It was a gorgeously done army. I'd seen pictures of it. It was a Trollbloods army. It
Yeah,
looked fantastic.
but they'd have been sued to high heaven if that got out.
Absolutely, yeah. At an official PP tournament, and it was like, "Mm." I
Yeah,
mean, they also had guidance where they did say they needed this much of a miniature to be official privateer. It's like the core of the miniature
yeah,
had to be the mini. But
yeah.
again,
And to be fair, workshops kind of always had that as an
mm,
unwritten thing. I don't think they do it so much anymore, but it used to be back
yeah,
in the day that it was store owners' discretion and it
mm,
had to be something like 70% G Dubs original.
yeah. I remember
Um,
hearing that in the past. I think as long as you're kind of subtle and you're not kind of shouting out to the high heavens, but
Oh god, yeah. Like the 3D print bros who are just like, "This army's 3D print. Cool, get out of my shop."
yeah. But if you say,
And
"Oh,
then,
well, I built this army. I needed something. I want to give it a bit of flavor." So I got these heads.
yeah,
I added a few here and there just to give it a bit of extra flavor.
yep,
They might say,
yep,
"That's very cool. I'm afraid we can't." Equally, they might just turn and say, "Oh, that's groovy." Just
yeah. It's down to the owner.
don't shout about it, but that's cool.
Yeah,
Come on in.
It's absolutely down to the store owner, and people need to remember that these are places of business that have a specific business that they need to promote, and kind of what they say has to go. It
Yeah.
sucks, but it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, sadly, we are a long way from the days of the old veterans nights, unfortunately,
Oh god, yeah.
which I used to love. They're what kind of got me to fall in love with the hobby properly. In all
Yeah,
fairness,
same. My
but
local back in Warrant was ace
but
for them.
but it's a different world. The model has changed. GW,
Yep.
well, they don't employ enough staff to do that. Although
Yeah.
fair play to my local, they actually do a thing once a month in the shopping centre they're in. They and
Mm.
the comic shop next door, who do a lot of the Magic and RPG stuff. They've they've teamed with the centre, and once a month they have a thing called Brunel Nights, where they
Hmm.
basically take it after 6. They take over the food court for till about 11, and it's all gaming. You can come in,
That's
you can
ace.
RPG, you can play any G-dub, or well, any tabletop game you like. If there's someone else who wants to play it, and you've got the stuff, so even non-GW stuff can be played.
That's cool.
But they encourage painting, so
Yeah.
come along and paint, uh, build sessions, and it's a lovely thing that they do. But I don't think it's a difficult one to do because it is
Yeah, like a
intensive and
lot,
it's hard, but it's
and
nice
a
that some
lot.
places do that.
You kind of get that with hobby clubs, right? But there's
Mm,
not enough hobby clubs, and there's not enough spaces for hobby clubs.
yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned it last time I was on one of these, but I briefly ran a club for a college for autistic
Mm,
kids. And due to the fact that my background check was a limited one, so wasn't
mm,
rolling, and the college weren't willing to pay for me to have another one, we had to stop the club. Now, I know the kids kept it running afterwards without me, which is
mm.
great,
Yeah, it's
because I got
fantastic.
the gig through a friend of mine from high school who worked there until
Yeah.
recently. So she kept me up to speed. But we always had this conversation between me and her about how it would be cool to set up something dedicated outside the college. Like
Mm,
I'd pay for my own background check. I'd make sure that it was all official and signed off, and could obviously be working with teenagers, so I wouldn't want to have any risks or anything.
mhm.
Um, but life and everything got in the way. It To get a background check on your own, it's like 100 odd quid, which is extortionate. But
Yeah.
yeah, it like looking for spaces for something like that. It's so hard to find somewhere. It is
Yeah.
so hard to find somewhere.
Well, I mean, my mum runs a local brownie group,
Mm,
and they have a dedicated hut they share with the guides and the scouts and cubs.
yeah,
And on occasion, I've just wondered, well, that'd be perfect for doing a gaming session in, because
yeah,
it's a big hall effectively. It's got
yeah,
tables, everything's there. There's a kitchenette off to one side. I mean, they do rent it out to folks, but the
yeah,
rent is more than I could do myself.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I do have an option that for Christmas she basically gave me a booklet of vouchers I could
Mm,
use for stuff throughout the year, and one of those is to have the hall for a day.
yeah.
But again, it's finding the people locally who would be willing to do
Would
it and to
help,
come
and
to it,
yeah,
and 'cause it's a lot of
run it in
stuff
your
to do.
yeah.
And
I mean,
I'm
it's go
yeah,
on. Sorry.
I was going to say, and personally, my own health is not
Yeah,
great, so I know that I would probably struggle because I have done other events I've gone to as a player.
mm.
But it's one of the things I'd love
it's
to try and do at some point.
it's something that we've run into with Adam trying to organise Fluffer meets, like outside
Mm,
of life getting in the way and stuff.
yeah,
Trying to find a space that's suitable is really hard. Like even
yeah,
back in my event management days, having a specific list of requirements that we wanted, we always had to compromise. Always.
mm,
Like the real money for the sort of stuff we were doing was in bar fees. Like the amount of
mhm,
money that the venues that we were hiring were making over the bar was extortionate compared to how much we were making from
yeah,
ticket sales and everything else. So we always wanted a venue where we could set up our own bar. Could never find one that was suitable, like in terms of size and everything else. Just nowhere was like that in Manchester that we could find. So yeah, venues are always a nightmare, always.
yeah,
And it sucks because being able to organize something of that scale where you can get a bunch of people together to just hang out, hobby, play games, having the volunteers and organizers on hand to help out with it, having the resources to throw like a load of paints down on the table or whatever, having a local hobby store and game store right next to each other that staff would probably be able to do unofficial out of hours sales through and just ring them through the following morning if needed. Like, there's so many things you could do in that sort of setup, and it just sucks that it's not more common, because I think, for me personally, I think the community kind of suffers that it's mostly online now, and it's mostly based off tiny little, often angry interactions. And there's so little space for like hobbying and just getting together with a bunch of like-minded people to shoot the breeze, build cool minis.
Well, it's why I enjoy doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah, same.
All props to Adam for letting us do things like this, because
yes,
it's just...
yeah, I very much realise that I am invading his space right now.
It's fine. No one else wanted to jump. I'd have just been talking to myself otherwise. So, which I've done before and realised because I was trying to do a thing for AOS talking about all the different previews for the factions. I tried to do the first week, and I basically nattered on for about 3 hours on my own.
Wow.
Because I'm like that.
Whereas I just sit there in silence, not knowing what to say.
But no, this has been fun. I've enjoyed this. Thank
Likewise.
You for joining me, dude. Much appreciated.
Give me a nudge next time you want to do it.
Absolutely. I think I'm hoping they do a longer preview at some point, because these shorter ones are a bit odd.
They're nice, but yeah, I miss having Adam and I can't remember the other chap's name.
Neither can I now.
But I miss their banter. I miss them interacting with the viewers. Like, it was always nice to see. I get that it was complicated. Having done live stream based events, they are a nightmare to pull off live on the day. So I get why they're doing this very slick pre-recorded presentation style, but they're not as fun. They're not as personable, and they just feel a bit not less genuine, but just less real.
Yeah, and that's not really a criticism of Lewis, the host, or any of the dev team he gets on, because he's doing I think a pretty decent job in all fairness.
Yeah,
he's always been
absolutely.
Like we said before, it just feels like like Darren said, it just feels a little less real. The teams are a bit more. It feels a bit more coached, if that makes sense. A bit more scripted.
Yeah, which does make me wonder if they're trying to aim for that to limit what gets said a bit more. Because I get, as they grow as a company, they have to be a bit tighter on this sort of stuff.
Yeah, but which is a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen arguments that they can't do the chat sections with the authors or the game devs or whatever. But you can have that as pre-recorded VT and just drop it in as needed. There's ways and means around it.
Which they've done before, in all fairness. Most of the
absolutely.
Stuff, they just have the authors having a chat about they just natter about what the book is and how they went about it.
It's just say video that's queued as needed. But yeah, I get it. It kind of sucks, but hey, we get to see new cool shit every so often.
Yeah. And this was some very cool, very, very cool new shit. So.
Yeah, I keep looking at the Scions, and I keep eyeballing the Solar Auxilia stuff that I'm using for my naval army, and I think I can make them work. I think I don't need to do kit bashing.
I have faith in you.
At the very most, I'm going to hate myself for this, but I might need to cut some tiny bits of plascard. And by tiny, I mean you're looking 1 mil by 2 mil.
Oh, good lord.
I'm going to hate myself for this. I already know exactly how to do the conversions that I need to do, and I'm already cursing myself for this idea. Oh, Darren, why do you do this?
Yeah. See, I'm looking at I've got a bag of Krieg special weapons I picked up off eBay that I'm just going to use to make this, because I've got the soldier stuff myself. I'm just going to do them as a regular guard platoon.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, the Navy don't have rules. They don't technically have ground pounders. I'm just running this guard army. Like, there's often enough being mentioned in books and stuff of naval troops deploying. that it is a plausible thing that could happen in universe, even though they don't have a standing army, which is kind of why I wanted to do it. Because I'm just like, the Solar Auxiliary would look awesome for that.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
it
like
gives me,
running them as like a regiment that's been raised to defend like a orbital habitat of some sort.
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of floating different ideas for their actual background at the moment. Like something because I've been so heavily reading the Gaunt's Ghost stuff of late. Like
Mm-hmm.
part of it was I built Salamander, and it was going to be a Salamander that belonged to the Navy side of things, and I screwed up some green
Did
stuff
you?
work on it and made it look a bit too rough. I'm just like, this could be like a
I was gonna say,
reserve
I was
company
gonna say,
vehicle.
did you read Honor Guard?
Yes. Well, no, it was actually before Honor Guard. It actually wasn't one of the official Gaunt's novels. It was one of the spin-offs. It was Titanicus.
Oh,
So what got me playing around with the idea of reservists was the reserve company in Titanicus, where it's
ooh,
just like they get handed down all the worst possible kit. They're the least trained. They are literally just bodies thrown onto the front line. And then
I like that.
I got up to the one where they're a Vergast hive and started reading about scratch companies and started seeing a few
Yes.
things that I could do around scratch companies with some models that I've got and some conversion ideas that other people have had. Like there's a dude in the Necromunda group on Facebook. Oh my god, I want to shake his hand because it's such a cool idea. Like I've instantly got Gol Kalir in my head. He took the squats from Necromunda,
Oh, is this the dude who
ripped
you used with Goliath parts?
mix of Goliath and a few other bits and a pile of
Yeah.
green stuff, ripped their arms and legs
Yes.
off, put like metal bits in to extend the legs. They look so cool as like industrial
Mm-hmm.
workers.
Yeah.
And oh man, I could kiss the guy because that is exactly where my mind was going. So yeah, it's turned into 3 or 4 separate guard armies, and it's kind of pushing a solar system on the brink type field now, where there's like I don't know, it's a naval refit and rearm base that's kind of pressed by whatever invading army. They're at the point where they're throwing like reservists out, they're throwing scratch companies together, literally anything they can to just hold the planet while the rest of the guard show up.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of works in my head.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to do a Gaunt's Ghost Army, which is why I have a load of Vic Mini stuff and all those
Of
files
course,
I've picked up.
of
But
course.
I, I mean, given I already have probably best part of 200 guardsmen from different regiments knocking
Jesus.
around, because I'm terrible like that.
I mean, it's how the guard work, though. They aren't a single unified regiment. You just have bunches of them thrown into a battlefield.
Yeah. It gets worse. Reptilian Overlords War Games Atlantic are doing more plastic Space Nam.
Ooh, they are nice.
They are. I bought 3 boxes on when they launched, and I have the files for all the extra stuff because you did some of the characters for me.
Mm.
But I want plastics of their command group and heavy weapons really
Yeah,
badly because
yeah,
it's
they
more
do make.
bodies, it's more bits.
Yeah, I mean, so like the scratch company stuff. I'm actually currently looking at the old Katchan, the metal Katchans that I've got lying around
Yep.
because they're just the right amount of characterful
Yeah.
without screaming Katchan. So you could
Yeah.
just paint them as like guys in fatigues that they picked up off dead bodies or like whatever they were wearing at the time. Or
Have you looked at the old Orlocks, the original Orlocks?
yeah, I was considering them. I don't own any, and I'm not paying those prices.
Is this about time to
Basically,
mention I have a bag full of old Orlocks?
of course you do. They are an option.
Hmm,
I don't want to go too nuts on the scratch company stuff just
that's
yet
fair.
because the problem I've got is this is now turning into 3 or 4 different armies.
It's always the way.
Yeah,
It
like
really, really is the way.
I
Jesus
had a
Christ.
very, very pure, it's going to be navy in my head. Then I screwed up the salamander kit that I did with green stuffing and just made an appalling mess of weld lines. And I was like, well, that could just be a scratch, like a reservist tank that's just been pulled out of storage.
Yeah.
And they've had to weld it together in a rush. That could work. Oh,
Or
I guess I'm
or
doing a reserves contingent now then.
Or field repair.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of what I was pushing for. Like, it was a hasty field repair done by a bunch of reservists. They couldn't take it back anywhere. So it was just like, cool, I guess I'm doing some reservist contingents of this now. And then I got up to the Vergast book, and it's like, Scratch Company sounds like it could be fun.
Hell yeah.
It just kind of sprawled. And that's how these things always happen, isn't it? It's
They
why I've got half
really
a bloody chapter of Dark Angels.
I mean, I have so many Space Wolves, it's not funny. One day,
Yeah.
if I ever put them on a table, I will make someone shit themselves.
Yeah. If I can get round to painting all of these, like most of them are unassembled and on sprue, which kind of sucks. And I desperately want to grab the firstborn kits before they disappear because I want a significant firstborn contingent because I want it to be that moment in time as they're transitioning rather than all firstborn or all Primaris.
It's funny you say that because I've actually been. I do have a boatload of Dark Angels myself, unsurprisingly, because I have the Dark
You have
Angels.
everything.
Seemingly so. I don't know how I've managed to do this. Honestly, seriously.
But
I've been putting together Blood Angels for the last week because one for Walker March got me going. Ooh, and I've been listening to A Darkness in the Blood because Guy Haley gets Blood Angels. Oh my god, does he get Blood Angels? But I've been building all the 3rd edition and beyond kits. Partly, to be fair, this was also Andy's fault because he's doing a 2nd ed Blood Angel army.
Yep.
And I dug out some bits for him because I wasn't going to use them. And I was going, oh, I still have stuff left over. Do I have all parts for these? And out of one single box of Death Company that I bought years ago to do one conversion out of for a Death Watch Marine chapter captain, I've managed to make 10 jump pack equipped Death Company using the old metal Death Company bodies, the 3rd ed ones, 5 bolter arm Death Company, and then I've picked up some more parts, and I've got another 5 on the build table right now. I just need more shoulder pads. And I've
gone.
And I was going to say, and I've worked out how I can do a Devi squad based on the original Rogue Trader Blood Angels army they did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My current immediate need to grab purchase list is 2 dev squads, 3 tac squads, Centurions, the stupid armored Marines that they did for a while.
So you like Marines? Have Marines in your Marines.
Yeah, those boys. Because I never bought any. Dark Angels could never take them for ages. They now can. I'm just like, screw it. They're kind of fun kits. I always hated them, but I've kind of grown to like them over time.
I did pick one up years ago somehow and just built it for a laugh. It's a weird kit to build.
I can imagine.
I could never get the weapons to work right, but just the actual body is really fun to build.
They don't seem very posable from what I've seen. Not without hacking them to shreds.
You would need to have a mess around them, which is kind of like the joy of plastic though. That
of course.
It's not terribly hard.
Yeah.
I've seen some people seem to have an issue and others and say, try it with metal. Go on.
Yeah, I don't miss hacking metal apart as a kid without the internet and no idea of tools. What was I saying? So I want to grab a couple of boxes of Centurions, some TAC Marines, some Dev Marines, and then I've pretty much covered off the foot sloggers. There's a bunch of flyers that I want that I know will probably be wound down because I get the feeling G-dubs are trying to slowly kill off flyers because they are slowly all disappearing for varying factions.
I also a bit weird, to be fair.
Yeah, I just really like flyers. Who doesn't love planes? And I want to grab all of the firstborn tanks, at least 3 of each, so that they can run in squadrons. I mean, I've already got a bunch, but I want more. So I want 3 Vindicators so I can do the awesome Dark Angels logo across the Dozer Blades on the front.
Yep.
I've got to grab a couple of Predators, never under Razorback, so I may as well grab a bunch of Rhinos to use as Razorbacks. Bunch of new Whirlwind kits because I never got any of those, and then I'm going to go hunting for the old style ones because I've got a load of those, but not enough to run in squadrons.
I mean, you could just buy the Horus Heresy ones.
I could, but they don't look right.
Demos packs.
They don't look right.
Oh, is that just because
of the same?
That's true. The holes are slightly different, but it would fit the Dark Angels to have that.
It would, and I am not. I mean, I'm probably just going to end up buying a load of Heresy stuff and painting it green anyway at some point.
Yeah, I tell you what, I am
what I
slightly
do.
annoyed by that I missed out on buying a Stalker kit, the anti-tank tank.
Oh yeah.
Because when they launched 10th rather, I don't think anyone picked up on the fact that the one with the autocannons was a properly spicy pick.
Yeah.
Because it could throw out an absurd amount of damage against anything with a fly keyword.
Yep.
Which was anything from jump pack troopers up.
Yep.
It would just mince them.
I mean, hell, back in the day when autocannons packed such a punch that it could take out a tank.
Yeah.
I remember the old Metal Dark Angels Dread. When I picked one up, the guy in the G-dubs was just like, yeah, do you know what I do? I swap out the last cannon for an autocannon on that. Absolutely destroys. I'm just like, maybe I should buy a second Dreadnought. But I am a mere child with not enough money to do this yet.
Yeah, the old Rifleman Daniel's Dread was it was feared for very good reason.
Yeah. Oh wait, actually, was it Assault Cannons I'm thinking of? No, it was the Assault Cannon combo.
Was it the
Assault Cannon missile launcher? Yeah. So because you couldn't get autocannons on them back in the day, it was the Assault Cannon, and they were absolute monsters.
That's interesting because part of the reason for the last cannon for missile launcher was they were similarly long-ranged weapons.
Yeah.
Assault Cannon's always been a much short 24-inch max.
Yeah. So the way he was
interesting. Yeah,
the way he was talking about using it is missiles as you advance, and then because the Assault Cannon was high AP at the time, it could shred everything once it got in close. So it could take out tanks, troops, whatever, with unbelievable amounts of firepower, which could take out armor.
Yeah, the Assault Cannon back when it was a slightly weaker autocannon, but with lots more shots was...
Yeah.
There's a reason not many units had one back in the day.
Yeah. They weren't great, but when they were used well.
Yeah, there's a reason if you dropped a Terminator squad with one behind someone, it was brown trouser time, because,
yeah, my Deathwing always got minced because of that. Like, oh, look, that's a horrible threat that you've just dropped. Let's fire everything we have at them.
Yeah. On which note, I think we shall wrap things up on that.
Yeah, it's been like 2 hours, hasn't it?
2 hours,
Jesus.
yeah. Yeah,
wow.
Gruff's gonna love their seat. It's content, man, content.
Yeah. Adam, I apologize, but we're giving you a lot of fill if when there's any droughts.
Yeah, baby. So, on that note, he's been Darren.
I have.
I've been David.
You have this week.
And we shall speak to you again at some point, no doubt.
Maybe it's Darren David, maybe it's somebody else. Nobody knows.
Maybe. Later.
Bye.